one of the most destructive opening pairs in the league, capable of providing blistering starts and taking the game away from opponents in the power play. At number 3 comes a slightly controversial call.
Hello and welcome to Hindustan Times. My name is Abhinav Trivedi, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the IPL auction is underway as we speak. The only thing predictable about every IPL auction is that it will happen for sure, and it's sheer unpredictability. So, why should Tuesday's mini auction be any different? All the teams, all the 10 teams, come armed with strong data driven insight to target and how far they can go in their efforts to secure their services. The BCCI, today morning, it was reported, added 19 new players to the IPL 2026 auction, less than 24 hours before bidding began, bringing the total number of players in the pool to 369. Now, you see, with 237 crores in the kitty of all the 10 teams, this is going to be an explosive auction. I'm joined by Rahul Makan, the love coach from Fever FM, who also has a love-hate relationship with cricket. We'll have some fun, Rahul. I'm joined by Rashesh Mandani, who's a cricket correspondent with Hindustan Times, and of course, Samreen, who's also a cricket correspondent with Hindustan Times. Now, Rahul, I'll come to you first. You have seen IPL over the years, and you know the situation this year. What do you think is likely to happen? What is the likely strategy with all the teams? Which team do you think will be most aggressive and which team will not be as aggressive?
So I'll put it in my words.
Sure.
कहते हैं कि इश्क के तजुर्बे ने मुझे बस एक ही बात सिखाई है कि नया जख्म ही पुराने जख्म की दवाई है. So
वाह वाह.
every time in every IPL and in every relationship, what is common is that जब नया जाता है, पुराना जाता है तो नया आता है ना? तो ऐसा हर बार चलता है. इस बार सबसे बड़ा जो फोकस में होगा, मुझे जो लगता है वो केकेआर होगा, कोलकाता. वाई? बिकॉज उनका पर्स बहुत बड़ा है. तो जो सबसे अमीर है उसी के पास सबसे ज्यादा निगाहें होंगी. एंड वेल व्हाट आई वुड वांट, मेरी जो कैलकुलेशन जो मैंने अभी टेबल पे बैठ के की है, व्हाट आई फील इज वेंकटेश अय्यर उनकी नजर में डेफिनेटली रहेंगे. पृथ्वी शॉ रहेंगे. सरफराज खान जिन्होंने अभी भी हाफ सेंचुरी मारी है. क्विंटन डी कॉक, क्योंकि अभी रिसेंटली वो अच्छे फॉर्म में है. बट जितने भी साउथ अफ्रीकन प्लेयर्स हैं, जब वो वापस आईपीएल में आते हैं, पता नहीं क्यों उनकी फॉर्म थोड़ी खराब हो जाती है. जॉनी बेस्टो हैं, कार्तिक शर्मा है, परिथाना है, एंड तुषार रहेजा. ये मुझे लग रहा है इन प्लेयर्स पे केकेआर का ज्यादा फोकस होगा. अब दूसरी जो टीम मुझे लगता है कि जो खिलवाड़ बहुत ज्यादा करती है ऑक्शन में, वो है दिल्ली कैपिटल्स. क्योंकि वो प्लेयर्स खरीदते नहीं है, वो प्लेयर्स के सिर्फ दाम बढ़ाते हैं. हमेशा ऑक्शन कर करके प्लेयर्स के दाम बढ़ा के फिर वो हट जाते हैं. सो ये उनकी ऐसी स्ट्रेटेजी रहती है, हर बार होता है. सो आई वुड लव टू सी व्हाट दे डू दिस टाइम.
Rashesh, what do you think? Do you agree with Rahul or do you have different points?
No, everybody, 10 people will have different points in the auction room, and that is the fun of the IPLs. I'm sure we should differ with each other. But I think, नए पुराने की बात की राहुल ने, some teams, that's the crux of the IPL, right? Mumbai, you look at three teams. I mean, we know KKR have got the biggest purse, 64 crores they have got. But when you look at MI, Gujarat Titans, and Punjab Kings. These are three teams who are coming in with a collective purse of about 10% of the overall sum that is going to be splashed today. We're expecting 237 crores maximum to be spent today, and these teams can only spend so much. When is the last time a team which is kind of owned by Mumbai Indians, we know who their owners are left with 2 crores to spend in the day? They'll be, fence sitting. They would be enjoying the refreshments in the room while all the bidding is done by the other teams. Now, why is that happening? Purely and simply because they've chosen to retain their core. So, उन्होंने पुराने में भरोसा रखा इन टीमों ने, and people like KKR, they really want to sort of they reorganize their squad. They're obviously not happy with the way things have gone in the previous year, and so that's the interesting part of the about the IPL. But I think there's one player that I'm on, and then I'm particularly keen to watch the bidding, and I think everyone in the auction room would be particularly keen is Cameron Green. This tall tall all-rounder from Australia, who is, if you look at the the pool that is available in the auction, about 369 players that are there in the auction pool today, there is a bit of a gap between the quality that he presents as someone who can bat at the top of the order, who can come down the order, who can also bowl, who can bowl at different phases of a T20 game. So, and then the rest, what he offers and the others offer, there's a big gap, which is why the two teams with the biggest purse, the two teams which have come with all the cash to splash, KKR and CSK, are obviously going to go very aggressively for him. And I think it'll be very interesting to see if someone like Mumbai Indians, who coming in with 2 crore, will start off the bidding. Who knows? Knowing fully well that they're not going to get it. And a lot of the other teams as well. So this is how the bidding might just begin. When Cameron Green's bidding comes up first up, they will all kind of sort of rake up the pricing of this player and eventually make sure that KKR, who will all probably get him, have to pay a lot of cash to get him, so that for the rest of the auction, they are not in a position to command the auction. So these are the kind of games that we look at when some of these auction proceedings begin, particularly in many IPL auctions, where some players go for a huge sum of money, and for the rest, they're left with whatever is left from the franchise teams as well. But this is one of the fun parts of the IPL, these auction proceedings, especially in many auctions, which can look lopsided for a beginner. But I think by now we are in the 19th season of IPL, so everyone knows how the unpredictability goes, and that's the fun of it as well.
Sure. Now, Rashesh, hold that thought, player with the highest valuation. I'll come to that later. But Sameen, do you think CSK and KKR, considering they have the biggest purses, are likely to be in overhaul mode in this auction?
Of course, of course. I mean, you can tell that, teams like Punjab Kings and Mumbai Indians, they're going to be slightly relaxed. I mean, Ricky Ponting is commentating at the BBL at the moment. They know they don't have too much work to do. And when you compare it to the rest of the teams, you compare it to KKR, you compare it to CSK, they have work to do. And I won't be surprised if they are the most active in the auction room today. Yeah.
Sure. Now, Rahul, you said something about पुराना घाव क्या था, मतलब कुछ वैसा कुछ बोला था ना आपने को. What was that?
इश्क तजुर्बे ने मुझे बस एक ही बात सिखाई है कि नया जख्म ही पुराने जख्म की दवाई. What I said was कि what is common between a love relationship and IPL is कि हर बार ऐसा ही होता है कि पुराना जाता है, नया आता है, और फिर वो जख्म आहिस्ता आहिस्ता भर जाता है.
I wish मैं उसी उर्दू में आपको काउंटर कर पाता, बट फिलहाल मैं उससे अग्री करके ये एनालॉजी डालूंगा केकेआर पे. केकेआर एज अ टीम, ओके. नाउ फ्रॉम आईपीएल चैंपियंस इन 2024 to 8th place finish in 2025, do you think KKR, apart from the big purse they are carrying, do they have a mindset change? What do you think will their strategy be? Whom do you think they will go after? Where do you think they'll hold their purses? What is going on? Had you been amongst the KKR management or somebody who's picking up the players, what will be going through your mind at this moment?
यार मुझे सीरियसली, मैं तो सबसे पहले द फर्स्ट थिंग आई विल बी डूइंग इज रिप्लेसमेंट फॉर रसल. तो ऐसा बंदा जो बॉलिंग भी अच्छी कर सकता है, बैटिंग अच्छी कर सकता है, एंड समवन हु इज लाइक दिस डिपेंडेबल कि अगर वो 7वें 8वें नंबर पे भी आता है, सो वी हैव समवन हु कैन फिनिश द मैच, हु कैन हिट 3 sixes, 4 sixes in an over, who can take you down the line, who can bring that magic numbers 220, 240 for the team. So yes, even if you have to pay 20, 25 crores for someone who is someone like that, जो आपको वहां तक उस एक ऐसा प्लेयर मिल जाए, सबसे पहले तो आप वही देखेंगे. Yes.
But are you aware that Andre Russell, his hairstyle was also a big meme material on the internet? I mean, people were literally replicating his hairstyle. Yes, yes. But carrying on that joke, Russell is now a power coach, yes. Samreen. Firstly, do you think this was a very clever ploy by the KKR to ensure that Russell is not taken over by any other team, simultaneously also retaining him?
Absolutely.
Not in the active role.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mumbai Indians have kind of done that in the past as well. Like with Pollard, they make sure, somebody who's part of the Mumbai Indians family, they keep them close in some capacity. A lot of times it's kind of questionable, like, come on, let them go. But I think KKR is doing the same thing with Russell. And like, why not? I mean, he's been part of and he's been synonymous with KKR for a long time. I think it also, beyond the, I guess, comfort of players who already existed with KKR, I think it also speaks about the brand value to have somebody associated with you long term. It's and in a time when a lot of the coaching staff saw an overhaul, we saw Chandrakant Pandit parting ways after 3 seasons. Abhishek Nair takes over as a full-time head coach. So it's nice to, I think, have some familiar player who hasn't, been away from the game too much and can see or, connect with the players a lot more, especially with, and keeping the old KKR spirit alive. I think it's a smart ploy for sure.
Rashesh, do you think this strategy helps of retaining star players in other roles apart from being active in the team playing 11?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think if I could gather what you're talking about, I think the Russell example. Russell, I think there was a good chance that he might still have had a couple of years left in him. It was a
Yeah.
very tricky call for KKR because he's been with them for all these years, and he's arguably one of the greatest T20 finishers in the game, one of the biggest ball strikers that there has been. There was a bit of a dip in form the previous year, but these are things are very difficult to judge because in T20 game people can sort of push the age factor aside and continue to play for so long. Someone like MS Dhoni is what 44 now, still going strong. Of course, not at the top of his path, but they find a way to get the best out of him, and there are a variety of reasons for that. So I think there was a case for Russell to continue, but there was this big call that they had to make because Russell's price in the previous auction was 12 crore, but because of the retention rules, the moment they release Russell, they could have they added 18 more crores to their purse. So their purchasing power has gone up, which is why they're going to dominate this auction. So I think this is one of the factors that they had to consider as well. So they must have had a quiet word with Andre Russell. I wonder who was in the room when they were explaining they were going to look past him because he's a tough man, as we know. But he's a very loyal cricketer. This franchise has sort of supported him through all these years, even at the time when he was under a cloud with the doping suspension, when there were question marks around his fitness, when West Indies wouldn't pick him, when he wouldn't go for a national contract with the West Indies team. KKR has always supported him. And so I think it was invariable. I think Russell may have found it difficult to sort of put his name back in the auction. They picked up by another price for a franchise for a lesser price, and then they continue playing. We don't know what his salary here at the power coach is, but I'm sure he's been compensated handsomely. And remember, he also plays for some of the other franchise leagues where KKR have teams. So he's still an active player. So in that sense, he is kind of coaching prowess and his ability to judge the room and the momentum of the game, etc., will be very handy for the franchise. But now that you do not have that Russell-sized hole, you need to fill that, which is the point that Rahul made. Now, how do you do that? Because I don't think there's any like-for-like replacement for Russell in this auction. This is a mini auction. Most of the
Correct.
good teams retain the good players. So we'll wait and see how that pans out. But I think it is almost they just don't have another option but to go all out for Cameron Green. Now Cameron Green does not come in down the order and does the kind of power hitting that Russell does. So they'll have to tweak their playing 11 a little bit. Maybe Cameron Green bats up the order. You put someone down. They will probably go for the likes of Liam Livingston from England, who's a big, strong power hitter down the order as well. If they don't get him, then someone like a David Miller from South Africa. Remember the man who lost his wicket at the back end of the 2024 T20 World Cup final. These are the couple of players that they might want to go after. But I think these are these are the two slots they need to fill. Someone at the top of the order who can bat aggressively, and someone lower down the order who can sort of do the power hitting and fill in for that Russell position. Which is why the 64 crore purse, which looks very big at the moment, may not remain that much because remember they're going to splash about 25 odd crores for Cameron Green.
Yeah,
And
they're
for
going
the
to
likes
deploy
of someone
Corbo, Lorbo, Jitbo with that 64 crores of purse. Now, as we speak, ladies and gentlemen, the IPL auction has already begun, and we'll keep you posted with all the latest updates happening in Abu Dhabi. But for now, Rahul, I'll come to you. In 2025, KKR lost, and fans were disheartened because a lot of star players were left out.
True.
Okay, and who were elemental in helping KKR lift the trophy in 2024. Do you think that pressure and that focus will also be on the minds? I mean, I know Rashesh and Samreen did add a little on that side as well, but I would like to pull your opinion here. Do you think that pressure will be there on the management of KKR?
I feel coming from the person who holds all the cards, Shah Rukh Khan. He is a person who keeps everyone everyone so light-hearted. सबके साथ बहुत आराम से रहते हैं. मुझे नहीं लगता है कि he's the kind of person who would put pressure on anyone कि यार आपको ऐसे करना ही करना है. So before the auction, when he would have briefed the management, उन्होंने तो सिर्फ सिंपल यही कहा होगा कि भाई आराम से जाओ, आपके पास 64 करोड़ रुपए हैं, जिसका मन करता है लो, जिसका मन नहीं करता है नहीं लो, आपकी मर्जी है. जस्ट फील फ्री टू डू व्हाटएवर यू फील लाइक. आई थिंक I when I met him कुछ साल पहले, I asked him कि क्या आप कभी प्लेयर्स से मिलते हैं बिफोर द मैच. He says मैं पहले कभी नहीं मिलता हूँ because I don't want to pressurize them. I never pressurize the management. I never pressurize the team players. मैं हमेशा मैच के बाद मिलता हूँ और उन्हें entertain करता हूँ. So my job is not to put pressure on the team. My job is to make them feel more alive, more kicking, so that they can be good on field. So I think उनका स्टाइल थोड़ा डिफरेंट है. मैनेजमेंट का स्टाइल क्या है मुझे बिल्कुल भी नहीं पता.
Maybe-
But yes, what if it comes to Shahrukh Khan, the kind of person he is, Juhi Chawla the kind of person she is, मुझे नहीं लगता कि टीम मैनेजमेंट पे कोई प्रेशर होगा.
Maybe Shah Rukh Khan will give that Chak De India speech instead of 70 minutes. He'll say 64 करोड़ है तुम्हारे पास, इसको संभाल के
आराम से खेलो.
But KKR, of course, the focus will be there. Let's move on to the other big team where a lot of action is expected, and they also have a very big purse. Chennai Super Kings. And when it comes to CSK, every fan has one prominent question. I'll pose that question to you, Samreen. Do you think this will finally be the last Thalaiva moment? I mean, will we see MS Dhoni formally departing from the playing 11? What do you think?
I am tempted to say that it should be the season, but you can never say never. I mean, especially with MSD, we still know what he brings to the table in terms of, the crowd support and just the entire brand around CSK. I mean, I don't see him stepping into, a coach or, some other capacity. So I think for as long as he is part of CSK, he'll play as a player, I think. But yeah, I mean, I have a feeling, I mean, just vibes this time that I think it's going to be the last Saliva moment indeed. And I hope that he has a great season so that, he goes out, with questions as to, again, like, MSD don't leave, like, it's not time yet. Rather than people saying, yeah, no, it's time now. Now you should know, you should leave. So I hope that he has a great season this year. Yeah. And calls it time.
Rashesh?
Yes.
Sure. Rashesh, we all remember that moment, when Mahendra Singh Dhoni was crying when Ravindra Jadeja hit off that winning run. You know, like KKR has this position called power coach. CSK, they can come up with their own position. I mean, maybe a Thalaiva. Thalaiva suits him as well. What do you think is likely to happen with MS Dhoni? Do you think he'll continue playing? Because emotions are high whenever it comes to MS Dhoni.
I think he's going to wear yellow for the rest of his life. I think that's a given. He's not going anywhere. For as a player, till how long we don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes that call midway through the season if things fall in place. Because remember they've got that big addition in Sanju Samson, the big trade that they have made. So they have now a proper keeper, someone who can bat at the top of the order, play a guaranteed player in the entire season. But I think it's going to be fun. I mean, it's quite literally unbelievable how Dhoni's managed to sort of play on for so long. It's incredible. We thought he retired a couple of years back, right? That's when he gave that. What was that comment that he gave to Danny Morrison? Definitely not. So he's stretched on for another year. Now another year. Now they've added the impact player rule as well, so that allows him to sort of to cool his heels if he wants to, and only bat or only keep if he wants to. He can hand over the gloves to Sanju Samson, only bat, come in at that back end of the of the season as well. But I think it's quite incredible the manner in which the whole country has responded at every stadium and given showered the kind of love they have to MS Dhoni. We can't now sort of become accustomed to away games become feeling like home games for CSK. So as a player, I don't know. I think MS will take that call. Once he watches his own form a couple of matches, and then he will decide how long he can continue, whether he should continue to be an active player or not.
Now,
but surely this
sure,
might be the end
Rashesh,
season.
I'll halt you for the moment because
we'll always see.
we have some developments happening simultaneously while we speak. Now, David Miller has been sold to Delhi Capitals for 2 crores.
And that was the base price. Those were
This comes as a surprise. And Jake Fraser McGurk has been unsold.
Yes.
Now, this is a surprise, ladies and gentlemen. This is happening as we speak. Rahul, your reaction?
बहुत अनबिलीवेबल है बिकॉज JFK ने लास्ट टाइम दिल्ली से वो खेल रहे थे और उन्हें ड्रॉप किया गया, बट ही इज अ पिंच हिटर, बहुत जबरदस्त प्लेयर हैं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया से खेलते हैं, मतलब पहली किसी ने भी बोली नहीं लगाई, 2 करोड़ पे अनसोल्ड। एंड देन डेविड मिलर, जो सारे सोच रहे थे कि मतलब उनकी बोली बहुत हाई जाएगी, बहुत सारी टीम्स बिड करेंगी,
Yeah.
बट सिर्फ पहली ही बिड में किसी भी टीम ने क्रॉस बिडिंग नहीं की और दिल्ली ने उसे ले लिया। इट वाज लाइक वेरी अनबिलीवेबल, जैसे मतलब ऐसा लग रहा है कि जैसे बिडिंग भी फिक्स हुई है आज तो।
Prithvi Shaw is also unsold as
And
we
so,
Oh,
speak.
okay.
Rashesh, what do you think?
Yeah, not surprising. I think sometimes these things happen. What happens is with some players, teams tend to sort of wait. There is this process called accelerated auction. When the main
Ah,
players are picked, the team comes with their plans, right? So they have certain players who are their priority. So once everything is done, then if they need to make some
True.
additions, that's when they can rope them in for the base price. So this can still happen with someone like a Prithvi Shaw. If someone realizes there's a bit of a gap, छोटा सा gap है, कम पैसे में कोई player मिल रहा है, then he sort of rope that player in. So this can still happen. I think it's not at the
but
end of the
Prithvi
world for
Shaw के
teams.
साथ थोड़े से disciplinary issues भी रहे हैं. Sameen, I would like to bring you in. Don't you think? I mean, that
yeah, yeah.
has hounded over his image more than his game actually.
Absolutely. I mean, he kind of faded away in the last few years. Whether it was the disciplinary issues, whether it the move from Bombay to, other states. There has been talk about him in the domestic circuit as to not being living up to the potential that he initially showed. And of course, that has an effect. And, as big as the domestic circuit is, these talks, they spread, and I'm sure, I think that has had an effect over him in the last few years. He has been pretty decent in the last year in the domestic front. He has shown that he has the commitment to get back on track. But yeah, I mean, I understand
Cam-
why teams would be hesitant.
Sure. Sameen, as you were speaking, Cameroon Green he's being bidded right now, and in a very few minutes we'll come to know which team has gone for this high-profile player because him and
We
I think
should do a
Livingstone,
quick
Rahul.
round, Rahul.
These two
Abhinav, sorry to
were
interrupt
like
you.
two prominent players.
इनकी तो ऑलरेडी SIC 2.6 करोड़ तक जा चुकी है, बिडिंग एंड क्रॉस बिडिंग हो रही है।
हाँ.
ऑल द टीम्स दे सीम इंटरेस्टेड। अभी राजस्थान रॉयल्स भी दिखाया जा रहा है कि दे आर आल्सो इंटरेस्टेड। एवरीबडी इज थिंकिंग कि यस दे हैव बेटेड फॉर कैमरन ग्रीन, सो बढ़ती जा रही है, 2.3 करोड़ हो गया है। एंड now every team is they are very very much interested in Cameron Green। बहुत जबरदस्त प्लेयर हैं, बहुत अच्छे प्लेयर हैं, एंड जिस भी टीम के पास जाते हैं एज वी स्पीक ये बोली बढ़ती जा रही है। इट्स ऑलरेडी नाउ
बट
3.6
ऐसा
करोड़।
कौन सा फैक्टर है राहुल, एंड आई विल ब्रिंग रशेश एंड समीन एज वेल, जो कि कैमरून ग्रीन को इतना ज्यादा हाई प्रोफाइल बना देता है? एंड आफ्टर दैट ऑफ कोर्स वी विल टॉक अबाउट लिविंगस्टोन एज वेल, बट व्हाई डू यू थिंक कैमरून ग्रीन इज एक्सट्रीमली हाई प्रोफाइल दिस ईयर?
माय गॉड, इज ऑलरेडी एट 4.80 करोड़। मुझे लगता है इस बार अगर कोई प्लेयर जो सबसे सबसे ज्यादा महंगा बिकेगा, इट वुड बी ईदर कैमरून और प्रॉब्ली लिविंगस्टन या फिर शायद डीकॉक। आई
And
थिंक हिज एबिलिटी टू हिट सिक्सेस आउट ऑफ ग्राउंड बहुत जबरदस्त है, एंड मुझे मुझे पर्सनली आई रियली लाइक दिस प्लेयर।
sure, Sameen, CSK is not even
Traditionally,
bidding
Green,
as we hear.
yeah,
CSK is not
yeah.
even bidding for Cameroon Green.
Yeah. Traditionally, I
So,
think all-rounders बहुत ज्यादा वैल्यू किए जाते हैं ऑक्शन में,
especially T20
and
format में, हाँ.
exactly, and for somebody like Cameron Green who has proven his mettle in the IPL, I'm sure like ये तो expected था ही, होना ही था, and the fact that availability है, he can deliver with the ball, with the bat, ये तो होना था. I mean, I'm very pleased to see Kolkata going for it because I see him. I can imagine him in a KKR jersey, middle order में कहीं बैट करते हुए. Not so sure about Rajasthan Royals yet, कि where they fit him, and कैसा will he be able to like deliver to his potential वहाँ? Can they maximize him there? But yeah, I'm still, oh my God, 9.4.
Yes,
9.4 as we speak. I mean,
Yeah.
he has already crossed 10 crores of, as it was expected that Cameroon Green will be much sought after. But why is he in the batters group and not in the all-rounders group, Rashesh? Cameroon Green, according to you?
उनका क्या है, उनके मैनेजर से भूल हो गई, so he slotted him in the batter. But I think he was lying from his faith. I mean, he's slotted then early because this gives him a better chance to sort of for his price to go up further. I think this suits everyone as well, because then KKR had to shell out more money. Because when everyone has got more money to compete with KKR, that's when you can sort of rob KKR of some more money and ensure that he ends up being an expensive buy for them. और कोई टीम से खरीदने वाली नहीं है. Nobody has got the purse that KKR has. Cameron Green is going to go on and become the highest priced player in this auction. And so eventually this is a matter of, this is fun, right? I mean, at the moment RR is competing, RR have got 16 crores. He's not going to go for 16 crores. He's going to go upwards of 20 crores. We know that. So everyone's trying to sort of rake up his price to make sure that KKR finds it difficult. Eventually, you will see CSK coming into the picture as well. And that is when the real battle will begin. That is when we have to see what is the CSK analyst decided. Where is it that they're going to end as far as the bidding is concerned? Because that is when KKR will end up buying him. So, that's
Rahul,
the
where do
fun
you
part
think
of IPL.
Cameron Gill will end up?
मुझे भी जैसे इन्होंने कहा, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि इट वुड बी ईदर बिटवीन सीएसके और केकेआर, थिंकिंग अबाउट देयर पर्सेस. दोनों के पास बहुत ज्यादा पैसे हैं इस वक्त खर्चने के लिए, एंड दोनों ही टीम्स को जरूरत है एक अच्छे बेहतरीन ऑलराउंडर की. सो सीएसके डेफिनेटली ले सकती है, केकेआर डेफिनेटली ले सकती है. ऑलरेडी 13.25 करोड़ तक पहुंच चुके हैं, एंड आई एम श्योर ये भी बहुत कम है, इससे ज्यादा ऊपर जाएंगे. और मुझे लग रहा है कि बाकी टीम सिर्फ उस पर्स को और तोड़ने के लिए वो बिडिंग कर रही हैं. मुझे नहीं लगता कि दे वुड डेफिनेटली गो फॉर कैमरन ग्रीन. अभी
राजस्थान bidding for Cameron Green, if I rightly understand.
Rajasthan have bid, I think.
They only have 16 crores in their kitty. I mean, 13.5 crores is already the price.
Not sure what they plan to do for the rest of the auction, but अब तो काफी obvious हो रहा है ये ploy. अब उनको थोड़ा, I think they should scale back.
I think they can direct the rest of the money to us. I mean, we are all...
What does our room think? What is he going to end up with? Prediction. मुझे लगता है between 20 to 25 crore.
हाँ.
आप लोगों को क्या लगता है?
I think 18 to 19.
That is an intelligent guess, Rahul.
या मुझे लग रहा है अभी थोड़ा सा ये स्लो डाउन हो गया 13.8
हाँ,
पर.
because
now nobody is bidding. अगर ऐसा होता है कि अभी सीएसके नहीं आया बीच में.
आ गए CSK आ गए.
Come. Yeah.
CSK enters the chat. Yes.
So now it will be definitely between CSK and KKR who goes for it. दोनों को जरूरत है एक अच्छी ऑलराउंडर की, और एक देखते हैं कौन दोनों में से लेगा.
And as we speak,
it's 14.8 already.
14.8. I mean, this is getting interesting as time progresses. But coming back to you, Rahul, usually what happens is players with very high valuations, we've seen it with Rishabh Pant, they tend to lose sheen as the performance begins in IPL.
Yes.
Do you think this is also likely to happen this year with players like Cameron Green and Livingstone?
Yes, it happened with Mitch Stark as well.
Yeah,
के साथ भी हुआ था, और बहुत सारे प्लेयर्स के साथ पहली बड़ी बार हो चुका है. अगर हम युवराज सिंह से स्टार्ट करें, जब डीसी ने उन्हें बहुत महंगा खरीदा, आई थिंक होता है प्रेशर, एडिशनल प्रेशर हो जाता है कि हर मैच में जो ओनर्स हैं आपसे आके बात करेंगे, मैनेजमेंट आपसे आके बात करेगी कि ये नहीं बोलेंगे हमने आपको इतना महंगा खरीदा है, बट वो जहन पे होता है प्रेशर कि यार हमने इतने महंगे में बिके हैं, वी हैव टू डिलीवर. और आईपीएल इज ओनली अबाउट 1 or 2 balls. एक बॉल में आप आउट हो जाएंगे, एक बॉल में आप छक्का मार देंगे. सो एक बॉल में आपकी विकेट चली जाएगी, एक बॉल में आप विकेट ले लेंगे. सो इट कुड गो ईदर वेज. But yes, additional pressure when you come on the field is there, always there, from ball zero.
Sure. Rashesh, what do you think? I mean, do you think his bid will cross 19 crores?
Oh, definitely. I think it will. I am just interested to see if CSK are going to stretch KKR upwards of 25 crore and sort of match Rishabh Pant's 27
I think both the teams are head on to ensure that the other team doesn't take. I mean, this is more of a negotiating tactic now.
नहीं, कोई negotiation नहीं है. KKR ही जाने वाला है. KKR is going to take Cameron Green, but I think for what price is something that only CSK know, because CSK will have a limit. They only come with 43 crore and they need to make some other picks as well. They are not a complete team yet. Remember, KKR also have to do some buying in the day. So they cannot splash unlimited money on Cameron Green just because they've got 64 crore in the bank. Remember, they have to pick about 13 more players. They've only come with the least retention. So they only have 12 players picked right now, and not all of them are playing 12 regulars. So they have to some more too. So there is a limit to how far you can go with Cameron Green. But this is one of the most predictable parts of this auction. We all knew
as we speak, he has already crossed 19 crores.
Yes, my prediction has gone. But yes.
It should be somewhere between 20-21 and हो सकता है उससे ज़्यादा भी जाए.
21 करोड़ से ऊपर राहुल, मतलब
हाँ हो सकता है. फॉरेन प्लेयर्स के साथ हमारी हिस्ट्री रही है.
But I think इस साल तो कैप है ना, like let's take a number from each one of you. That's a good suggestion. Rahul, one number from you. क्या लगता है आपको? Where will you close?
22.
22. Rahul. Rashesh?
I would go for somewhere around 25.
25. Okay, Sameen?
21.
21. Okay, let's. Now it has already crossed 20, but
20.
and I would request the audience to keep commenting their opinion as we speak. This is getting interesting, and there will be much more action as we go ahead. But Sameen, I'll come to you. I mean, the auction will simultaneously go. Like Rahul was saying, does this extra valuation put pressure on the player? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the players that we try to talk to, and often after auctions, we ask them, was the pressure getting to you? Does it get to you? Do you think about it? They always say that they don't think about it too much. They don't attach too much value to it. But I'm sure it does. I mean, it's hard not to, keep thinking about delivering when, you're making headlines and, the eyes are on you all the time. And I definitely think that it, plays a role in the kind of performances they deliver. But I also think a lot of it, cricket is so much about luck, especially T20 cricket. That year, the kind of form that you turn up in, the kind of work you put in, the conditions, the matchups. If you don't do that kind of homework, you are bound to falter. So it's happened so many times. Happened with Ben Stokes. It's happened with Rishabh. So many in the past, Stark. But I think with players, with all rounders, at least they have the reassurance, if you don't deliver with the bat, it will be with the ball. So I think maybe two, three good performances in a year, and I feel like they can justify that kind of price tag. It's hard to, expect, or it's kind of unrealistic to expect them to deliver almost every match.
I
But
think
I,
Abhi, it has already crossed 22 crores.
yes,
20.6.
yes,
22.6.
हम दोनों से आगे निकल गए हैं अब.
23 it
yes.
has already touched. I mean, this is much more than what was expected. Had this been Dalal Street, it would have been all green by now. But this is slightly getting overboard. But Rashesh, there was this news which people were talking about in the morning on the internet. There's a cap on overseas players. I mean, it cannot exceed beyond 18 crores. Which is the retentionship fees of Virat Kohli. I might be wrong. Can you explain me that economics if you're aware of it? I mean, how does that work? If the valuation of a certain player crosses 18 crores, will the rest of the money go to the cricket fund, BCCI Player Development Fund? If I rightly
I think
understand that.
you're right. You're right. I think that's a good point, good discussion point at this point in time. And Cameron, because it's specifically for these kind of circumstances. What used to happen is overseas players always used, because the main Indian players are always retained by the team. So in many auctions, the big overseas players used to jump in many auctions so that they end up taking a big purse in the bank. So this happened with Mitchell Stark. We ended up with 23.75 crore. Pat Cummins in the last mini auction went for 20 crores. So to prevent that, they have put a limit where the last retention price would apply to any overseas player, to any non-Indian player. So Cameron Green, regardless of whether he gets 25 crore, 26 crore in this auction, will only be taking home 18 crore. The rest of the money will go to BCCI fund, which will be used for player welfare. So this will be a talking point, all right, that Cameron Green ends up being the biggest prize player in this auction, but he will take home only 18 crore because there has been a cap set, a rule enforced for any overseas player in a mini auction, and the rest will be going to BCCI coffers.
He's already crossed 25 crores as we speak. So, 25 already ho chuka hai. 18 is
Now
the
27,
limit, what we
we have to
understand.
look at 27 crore now. 27 crore was the record, right? Rishabh Pant went
Yes.
Yes.
for 27 crore. So let's see if we can go past that as well.
He's still this year. Money, I mean, donating quote unquote for the lack of a better word.
Sorry, was this for me?
Five point crores sold to.
So it looks like Cameron Green was not able to breach the record, but still pretty big, 25.2 crores. And I think we were spot on with the team that, um, yeah.
No
But
marks
again,
for guessing that. It was so predictable. I think it's one of the kind of strange auction pools that we're seeing this time, where you can very clearly see that this is one player that one franchise cannot do without, and so they were
hmm,
always going to go aggressively. In every other franchise, they were obviously going to bid, but they didn't have the money to challenge KKR. The only team that they had that could have challenged KKR was CSK, but they also had to come up with a limited purse because they need a lot of other shopping to do as well. So I think in at the end, as big as the amount sounds, 25.2 crore, is it? This is one could see this coming also because this was Green was listed in the first auction set, so he was going to come in very early as well. So this is something that we sort of saw coming. And 25.2 crores is not a bad price for KKR because they're left with what now? Still, they have about 40 crore to the rest of the shopping, which should be good enough for them to pick up some strong team. They're still in a good position to go for some players like Livingston if they want. And even as we speak, I believe Sarfaraz Khan has
has
gone.
gone
So
unsold.
that has gone unsold. So again, I think Sarfaraz, in fact, he played a timely knock in the Mushtaq Ali today. He got some
Yeah,
70 runs of 20 odd balls. So this is, I still believe someone like Sarfraz might just be picked up by someone in the accelerated auction. But people not sort of queuing up to buy him is also not surprising because remember, T20 is not his forte. There are days where he
hmm,
can play some of these unfancied shots, etc. But red ball cricket is his strength. So in that sense, not surprising that people didn't want to splash too much on him. Someone might just pick him at the back end if they've got some gaps to fill. So we'll wait and see on that
true.
front. But fascinating how the auction has sort of begun. This is what sort of rakes up interest in these IPL auctions. When there is a big buy, big purchase at the start of the auction, that is when this sets the ball rolling, and I think we'll be in for some more surprises, some big buys as well. Because remember, even if for us on the outside, they may not look strong players, not players who will always win matches on their own, because the option pool is limited, and these are the players that are available. The teams will go for them quite aggressively.
Yeah.
So I think Cameron Green will turn out to be the most expensive overseas buy this year, if I correctly understand. Rahul?
मुझे लगता है लिविंगस्टन पे भी अभी थोड़ी सी उम्मीदें होंगी. लिविंगस्टन इज अ वेरी गुड प्लेयर एंड बहुत सारी उम्मीदें उन पर हैं, बहुत सारी उम्मीदें क्विंटन डीकॉक पर भी है.
Hmm.
तो ऑन दीज टू प्लेयर्स वी कैन थिंक कि शायद 15 से 20 करोड़ या हो सकता है 20 से ज्यादा भी, डिपेंडिंग के किस टीम को उनकी ज्यादा जरूरत है.
हाँ.
तो इट विल डेफिनेटली डिपेंड ऑन द टीम स्टेटस एंड द पर्स दे आर लेफ्ट विद. सो इन दोनों चीजों पे डिपेंड करेगा. फॉरेन प्लेयर्स की अगर बात करते हैं,
When it comes to Indian players, Samdeen, Venkatesh Iyer was one of the most high-profile buys last year. And I think, if I understand it correctly, he was sold at almost 23.75 crores, almost 24 crores, but that did not translate into results. So, do you think when it comes to Indian players, who will be most sought after?
Oh, इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन. आई मीन अभी तक तो जो अनकैप प्लेयर्स थे वो अनसोल्ड ही गए हैं, तो आई थिंक थोड़ा हमको वही थोड़ा वे करना पड़ेगा.
Hmm.
But who's likely to go big? I hope a player that goes big is Akib Nabi,
Okay.
a bowler who has been, he's been talked about a lot. Again, T20 is not his forte per se, but he has
Hmm.
shown that he has the prowess to, be able to do justice across formats. Again, he's a bowler who's very good with swing early on, and that's kind of a skill set that is फेडिंग अवे. अब बहुत कम बॉलर्स ऐसे जो आप फ्रंट विकेट्स पिक कर पाते. ही आल्सो हैज एबिलिटी विद द बैट. सो ही इज वन प्लेयर आई होप गोज बिग. बाकी तो ऑक्शन डायनामिक्स ऐसे हैं कि द रैंडमिस्ट वो आपको पता
Any
चलेगा
buy
कि
could
अरे.
pop up, कोई नाम
यस,
कहीं से आ
यस,
जाएगा, and a lot of people will
या,
ask, who is he?
या.
Rashesh, what do you think? Who is likely to be the most expensive Indian buy this year? Uncapped
I
players,
wouldn't be surprised. Uncapped तो यार कोई भी हो सकता है. But I think amongst the capped players जो हम जिन्हें हम जानते हैं,
हाँ,
I wouldn't be surprised if it is Ravi Bishnoi because Ravi Bishnoi
हाँ,
is a leg spinner. He's sort of very crafty T20 spinner. He's one of the known sort of India spinners who has been released by any franchise. And remember, last time he's a
And do
good
you think
benchmark.
Rajasthan Royals will bid for him very aggressively because he is sort of completing the equation for them?
Yeah, I think that could well happen. But he will find other takers as well. I think there'll be some other franchises who will be interested and who will stretch Rajasthan Royals. But I think Rajasthan Royals will be very seriously looking at him because they remember they have let go of two Sri Lankan spinners in Asaranga
Yeah,
and Thikshana. So there is a big hole there. They have brought back Ravindra Jadeja, लेकिन Jadeja को कोई company चाहिए. They need a couple of spinners who can sort of do the job for them. So they are
hmm,
definitely in need of a crafty leg spinner. So if it also depends on when his name comes up. Yeah, this is the other fun part of the auctions, right? Sometimes your name comes in quite late, and you already done some spending, so you're left with less purse, and then the player ends up suffering for that count. But I think
correct.
if Vishnu is expected to get good money, and I would in fact think he might just end up getting more than 15 crore as well because quite a few teams are
More than
interested
15
because
crores,
there are
that's a bit
fewer
okay.
Indian-led spinners in the pool.
Rahul, what do you think?
अनकैप प्लेयर्स में यार बहुत मुश्किल है,
But
शायद शायद अशोक शर्मा, मुझे पता नहीं,
hmm,
बट कैप प्लेयर्स में तो डेफिनेटली मुझे जो दो प्रोबेबल लग रहे हैं,
हाँ,
एक इज वेंकटेश अय्यर आई गेस, क्योंकि लास्ट ईयर भी वो काफी महंगे बिके थे,
हाँ.
शायद 23 करोड़,
But do you
23.7।
think it did not reap off, so there will be less interest on him?
मुझे लगता है कि क्योंकि बिकॉज वो बॉलिंग तो डेफिनेटली अच्छी करते ही हैं, बैटिंग भी बहुत अच्छी कर लेते हैं, सो देर देर आर चांसेस कि वेंकटेश अय्यर पे भी बिट्स लगाई जाएंगी,
हाँ.
एंड रवि बिश्नोई डेफिनेटली, बिकॉज वो एक ऐसे बॉलर हैं जो आपको हर मैच में एक एक दो दो विकेट्स डेफिनेटली निकाल के देके जाते हैं, सो रवि बिश्नोई एंड वेंकटेश अय्यर जिनके ऊपर मुझे सबसे ज्यादा लगता है कि बिडिंग जाएगी। बैट्समैन में मुझे इस वक्त कुछ जहन में आ नहीं रहा कोई इतना खास।
कोई जहन में आ नहीं रहा अब, क्योंकि मैं खुद एक फाइनेंशियल जर्नलिस्ट हूं, तो मैं एक फाइनेंस का दिमाग यहाँ पे लगाऊंगा। समीन, आई कम टू यू। केकेआर के पास लगभग 39 करोड़ बचे हैं, 39 करोड़। वेयर डू यू थिंक दे विल डिप्लॉय दिस फंड? विल दे होल्ड ऑन टू द पर्सेस? दे विल सी हाउ सीएसके बिहेव्स और हाउ अदर टीम्स बिहेव। उनके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा होगा कि सही तरीके से ये 39 करोड़ स्पेंड हो, क्योंकि कैमरून ग्रीन एक बड़ी एक्सपेंसिव बाय है ऑलरेडी।
I think एक दो और high profile names they'll go after,
लाइक
but I think who else in the top order? I think they're missing the star power. Yeah, I think they're missing the star power, so some players there. But otherwise, I think thoda ye log they will rely on their analysts and scouting to build the rest of their lineup. I think
ओके।
they've gone all out with Cameron, but there are a few more players I think that they'd like to bank upon in terms of star value. Because last year bhi they went in with, they had Ajinkya Rahane as captain and
या
उससे पहले श्रेयस अय्यर थे. तो लास्ट ईयर थोड़ी उनकी वही स्टार पावर थोड़ी minimize होगी. Russell is gone. So I think they'll try to, get that back to, players that, the audience can relate with, so that more fans can, now get back to supporting KKR. So I think their investment is likely to be a little scattered in that sense.
हाँ।
थोड़ा एक दो players बड़े players के पास जाएंगे, but बाकी I think they'll try to build up a score that relies on analytics and maximizing value.
Sure, they use the money ball strategy, which Pitt, I'm sorry for my bad, which Brad Pitt used in his team. Rashesh, what do you think? Where do you think KKR will deploy funds now?
No, I think the Moneyball team this year is MI because they are left with 2 crores and they have no option but to pick up players cheap, and they will end up being the gems. They go on to be remembered. Hardik Pandya was picked up by for 10 lakh. Jasprit Bumrah was picked up for no money, and they ended up being the big players that we know. So
Hmm.
I think that is going to be the fun part of the auction, how that pans out. But I think KK still have a lot of work to do.
Hmm.
They have got the whole squad to pick because remember they haven't done too many retentions this time around. They only picked up 12 and Cameron Green is a 13th player, so they need to fill in a lot of slots. And I think, like I mentioned earlier, they still would want another power packed player down the order, someone like a Livingston perhaps, a Miller
I
perhaps,
think
maybe
Liam
even.
Livingstone is now up at auction, if I
Oh,
correctly
this should be
understand.
fun. I think this predict would also be equally interesting because a lot of teams would be interested in him, not just because he's the best power hitter in the world, mind you. That is not how these options work. but because he's probably the best talent available in the resources that in the
Yes, I think so.
369 players that are available at the moment, which is why a lot of teams will bid for him.
Okay, now I think Gus Atkinson is up for at the auction. The base price is, of course, 2 crores. Rahul, who do you think will pitch for him?
मुझे लगता है इस बार सीएसके पिच करेगा
क्यों क्या what is special with him? Which void do you think he will fill?
बिकॉज उनके इट्स ही इज अ गुड ऑलराउंडर, बॉलर बहुत अच्छे हैं, बैटिंग भी अच्छी करते हैं, तो आई थिंक इस वक्त सीएसके को एक ऐसे अच्छे ऑलराउंडर की जरूरत है आफ्टर जडेजा हैज लेफ्ट द टीम, सो डेफिनेटली दे विल गो फॉर हिम। और बिकॉज मुझे भी लगता है कि इनकी
He went unsold.
अनसोल्ड, वाओ,
Gus Atkinson went unsold.
आई थिंक वापस जाएंगे इसकी तरफ।
Do you think Gus Atkinson will be reconsidered? He's went unsold.
No, I'm kind of not surprised. There are bigger names to come, and again, spending so much money upfront, 2 crore base price, वो बहुत है. मतलब I think he over-evaluated that. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm kind
I
of
think
not
the base
surprised.
price was over the chart
Yeah.
for Gus Atkinson. Okay. Yes, Sachin Ravindra is being bidding as we speak right now. Rashesh, क्या ख्याल है आपका सचिन के बारे में? ये कहीं जाएंगे या फिर बैठ के लैया चना खाएंगे?
नहीं, कहीं तो जाएंगे, बट आई थिंक बहुत ज्यादा पैसे नहीं कमाएंगे. That's my early prediction.
क्या बात है, आज हर कोई राइमिंग मूड में है. राहुल, you set the tone very bad. हाँ.
Correct. No, but I think he might just end up going.
No, I'll have to stop you, Rashesh. Sachin went unsold. ये कहीं नहीं गए, ये लैया चना ही खाएंगे, जैसा कि मैंने आपको बोला था. He went unsold. Do you think he'll be considered again, Rahul?
इनका लास्ट सीजन जैसे मैंने देखा था, आई ऑब्जर्व्ड हिम, क्योंकि व्हेन ही वाज प्लेइंग फॉर न्यूजीलैंड बहुत अच्छा खेल रहे थे, बट जब आईपीएल में आए थे मुझे लगा था कि विद येलो जर्सी ही विल डेफिनेटली प्ले रियली वेल, बट कुछ खास कर नहीं पाए, तो मुझे भी इतनी उम्मीद नहीं थी कि 2 करोड़ से, मतलब 2 करोड़ मुझे ज्यादा लग रहा था.
Okay.
So,
Now,
let's see.
Liam Livingstone, I mean, this is the moment all of us have been waiting for. He is up now for sale. And the surprise point is he has went unsold. What is happening?
There
Yeah, I
might
think
be-
this is a big step.
I mean, why? Can somebody please enlighten me on this?
As someone who was losing their mind watching teams spend so much on Cameron Green, I was like, okay, अब पैसे बचा रहे, so part of me is kind of happy that they're,
Okay,
I
I think
going
we
to
have
go
got
for it.
Nick. Sure. Samir, I'll come to you in a moment. I think we've got
Yeah.
Nikhil Sharma right now. Nikhil, Livingston went unsold. Why do you think that happened? I mean, he was much sought after this year, and he was on everybody was chanting about him, apart from Cameron Green.
Well, a lot of times teams have their own strategy going forward. It's not necessary कि हर time पे एक player कितना भी अच्छा हो वो आपकी strategy में fit होता ही होगा. So Livingston surprising, पर बाकी जितने भी players हैं that we've kind of had unsold, I'm not surprised at all. This is possibly the only name that I'm surprised that nobody's bid for. I don't think a lot of them, at the end of the day, the team will come back and say, we should get them back into the pool. I have a feeling Livingston might be back. Also, does he have any international engagements? I'm not aware. I'm not aware. Sometimes that also
I think
puts
there's
teams off.
workload pressure also, which might
Also,
have
injury.
propagated the board also. I mean, for his availability.
Yes.
नहीं,
yes.
राहुल?
बिल्कुल हो सकता है, बट अभी मुझे जो सबसे बड़ा वो सामने आ रहा है, हसरंगा, जिन्हें बिल्कुल कोई बोल ही नहीं लगाई गई, एलएसजी में शामिल सिर्फ 2 करोड़ पे ही हो गए. ये उनका बेस प्राइस था, सिर्फ एक ही टीम ने इनके लिए बिड किया और वो उनके पास चले गए, लखनऊ. मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था कि हसरंगा को थोड़ा सा ज्यादा बिडिंग होगी, 3-4 टीम्स बिड करेंगी, उसके बाद जाके वो कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ी हसल के बाद शामिल होंगे, बट बहुत इजी बाय हैं लखनऊ के लिए.
बट अभी लखनऊ के सामने शायद वेंकटेश अय्यर भी है. वी वर सीइंग मिस्टर गोयनका ऑन स्क्रीन राइट नाउ, बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू वेंकटेश अय्यर, very high price last year. Do you think what would be his future this year? Rashesh, लैया चना खाएंगे या कहीं स्पेसिफिकली जाएंगे?
Oh, he'll obviously go for some team, but I think Venkatesh Iyer might actually benefit with Liam Livingston not going for a big price, because Livingston, remember, he was not in form. So, in terms of his international commitments, England haven't picked him regularly. He's done well off late in some of the leagues that he plays in, But this is sometimes, we mentioned, some teams come with some strategy, and they might have other players in their priority list. And I would be surprised if Venkatesh Iyer would be in their priority list. So my initial thoughts when the auction began was Venkatesh Iyer will get a big price correction. He went for 23 crore. He might just go for less than half the price. But with now Livingston not going at all, some teams may have more money left and they may go for Venkatesh Iyer. Although I still feel he will be comfortably short of 10 crore, but teams will most definitely bid for him. If Venkatesh Iyer does not find any bidders, then I think we certainly don't know our auction dynamics anywhere close to what the other teams do.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think it's third bid for Venkatesh Iyer. He is already 2 crores. I mean, not very over the board as far as base price is concerned. Nikhil, what do you think about Venkatesh Iyer this year?
Well, Venkatesh Iyer, there was a huge talk of the wrong Iyer being retained by KKR last year. And of course, it's been proven right the way Kings 11 played last year. Having said that, I think Venkatesh is a phenomenal player. So I do believe that there'll be a lot of teams wanting to get him on board. He's done reasonably well, did well today as well against Punjab in SMAT. And he's been, opening the innings too as well from time to time. I do expect that maybe, the price that he commanded last year, and that's primarily the reason that KKR might have let him go, because if you had to retain him, that price would have come into play. If it was a price that was more close to 10 crores, 12 crores, maybe 14 crores, I think he wouldn't have been let go by KKR. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back into the pool for him at not that price, or have things really soured up between the management and him. So it's on the other teams to come in. But he's a utility player. He can bowl, he can bat. He's played a bit of county this time as
Nikhil,
well.
I'll just ask that question to you because we were discussing this very fact. Every year one player or the other, is hired at a very phenomenal price. We've seen that with Rishabh Pant. We've seen that with Mitchell Stark. I mean, this year maybe I don't want to be the Bhavishya.
No, Cameron Green. That'd be the one.
Be
I don't think anybody will go above it.
But do you think this high pressure of being sold at such a phenomenal cost, such a high cost, takes a toll on players? I mean, all the players which have been sold at very high profile cost have not been able to perform well on the field. Do you think there is pressure which translates onto their performance when such phenomenally high costs are associated with them?
There could be pressure, especially if you're not used to it. Say for somebody like Venkatesh Iyer, if you're doubling the kind of money that you get in the IPL, it could add to a lot of pressure. But if you look at some of the more experienced ones who are more used to it, they look at prices as just being prices. Ultimately, the absolute gold standard in cricket or in any sport is what you do onto the field. When you go onto it and you perform, I don't think a lot of players keep thinking about कि यार मुझे इतने पैसे मिले हैं तो मुझे इतना खेलना ही खेलना है. Yes, if you're not used to it, the first couple of times it could be, but otherwise I don't think that's a big problem really for experienced seasoned campaigners.
Now, as his bid touches 5 crores, Rahul, I'll come to you. KKR let him go. And like Vijay was mentioning, had the base price been around 10 or 14 crores, they would have retained him. Do you think KKR would like to retain him at a much lower cost?
Definitely, because last time it was 23.7, I guess. So if at all, मुझे लगता है कि 13, 14, 15 तक अगर उन्हें इस बार अवेलेबल होता है केकेआर को, तो मुझे लगता है कि वो लेना चाहेंगे, बट उससे ज़्यादा they would not invest in Venkatesh Iyer. That is why probably they let him go, because उनका पर्स बहुत ज़्यादा भर रहा था 23 करोड़ से एक ऑलराउंडर के लिए. बट आई एम वेरी सरप्राइज कि अभी तक सनराइजर्स ने एक भी बिड नहीं किया.
I was coming to that. Yes.
उन्होंने अभी तक एक बार भी उठाया नहीं है.
And they have a cap of, I think they have a purse of 25 crores. I mean, क्या चल रहा है उनके दिमाग में, रशेष?
I think they may be saving up for a quality spinner. This is something that they may be saving up for perhaps another. Obviously teams come in with their own strategy at the moment. We are having all-rounders who can also bowl. We had the batter set to begin with. So teams come in with those kind of strategies. So, and they also know to buy some of these players, people like Green and Iyer will end up spending a lot, and that is not in their budgetary allocation. So this is perhaps the reason why we've not seen anyone in orange bid yet. But interesting, while we are watching Venkatesh Iyengar's bid go on, it's quite a slow bidding going on at the moment.